Hello and welcome back to Jack's Hobby Station. Today I'll be building, destroying, and adding wellbeats to DMLs 1/3 scale t-72b with ERA. I am sick and dealing with allergies, so I'm sorry if I sound weird. But first I started off with previewing the kit. Next, I started off on the lower hole by first adding the dozer blade, then adding a few pieces of the suspension. And before I moved on to the wheels, I added a few more pieces to the lower front plate. And after the road wheels, I added the rear plate and added pieces I saw on tanks using references, and I filled up the leftover holes with putty. Next, I moved onto the upper front plate and I removed some things so I could add ERA blocks. After cleaning it up, I added some of the main ERA blocks, then I added a couple of pieces to the driver's area. After finishing up adding ERA for now, I moved onto the headlights and added a couple of towing hooks. Next I moved on to the sides and added the bases for the side skirts and a couple of parts for the exhaust. Next I moved on to the rear and added a couple pieces. After finishing up the hole for now, I moved on to the turret. The two main turret pieces had no guiding pins or holes whatsoever and had a really bad fit, but I made do with it. And afterwards I added cast texture. I moved on to the gun barrel, and that's when another problem came along. One of the halves for the gun barrel had almost broken off after putting no pressure on it. Thankfully it was just a quick fix. Afterwards I made the gun cover and added it to the barrel. Next I worked on the hatches and the commander's hatch, which had several major gaps in it, which I'm going to fix later with some putty. Next I started adding pieces to the turret, such as the large light, the gunner's hatch, and the smoke launcher. Next I moved back onto the upper hull and noticed that the side skirt bases were too low, so I fixed them before moving back onto the turret. After that, I moved back onto the turret as it's time to play with putty. I added the main gun, then made some pieces of tarp using green stuff, so I can fix the gap between the gun cover and the turret. Afterwards, I took the leftover piece and added it to the back. Next, I started to destroy stuff, first by removing a large area of the rubber siding, as I had seen in some reference videos, but since the plastic is cheap and old, it cracked while working on it. But here's how it turned out. Next, I started adding blocks of ERA to the side skirts, making sure to avoid damaged areas. Next, I took the leftover pieces of ERA and added them to the turret. After I destroyed some of the upper front plate, then I added some more pieces of ERA. Off camera, I added one side of the tracks and road wheels, and after looking at it, I decided I wouldn't record the process as it's too messy and complicated, and it just has a ton of problems with the tracks. But after I connected the upper and lower hull together. As one of the final details, I started adding weld beats using Tamiya's quick type epoxy putty, which I think it turned out pretty well. And last but not least, I added some wires to the main light and to the commander's light. And that's the end of today's video. What do y'all think? I think it turned out pretty well for it being an old kit from the 1990s with some issues, but it was a nice test bed at least. I had a lot in store for the weathering process, so make sure to stick around for that in the next video. And at the time of editing this video, it's almost finished and I think it looks great so far. But thanks for watching and have a great day. See ya.